Greetings, dear precious spirit, soul, magnificent, eternal. Wow, it's great. My topic, the mystic path is best. Now you say, well, in your opinion, well, not just my opinion, it's my experience. Being a spiritual sleuth, you know, in that sense that person always looking for clues or pieces to the puzzle, you might say, but you know, what are we doing? We're wanting to remember who we really are, because you know, when there becomes like a crack in the egg, so to speak, or you know, you get something beyond the veils, you get an inkling of the divine, the spiritual, the supernatural, or as an experience, and know that when you have those, that is true, that is valid, you actually did, and you do. And those get these windows, and then you start perceiving in another way, because you are now, it's like, it's beyond the thinking box. It's actually an experiential and a being place experience. So the mystic path is best in my experience. And I realize that every really magnificent experience, and really all experiences are magnificent because you are, and you're there. And you're right there right now, always, and we're right here. But there's always also more going on that we call the divine. And that's just a name, but that's meaning it's beyond the supernatural. It is, and it's who we are originally, our divine true self. And forever how long we had forgotten who we are, we now know. And then even the word know is also N-O, as well as K-N-O-W, or now here. Oh, it's the word game. Okay. Because we're limited by these words, and this is what we're using to get us to a return to our non-world world self as a creator being. And basically, as a creator being, that means we are part of and flowing through us as us are the qualities of the divine, the absolute love and absolute purity, absolute goodness, however, and that's what and with all these capabilities. Manifestations and creations and beyond what we could even say or think, because we're still in this limited reality. So we start perceiving the unlimited, or beyond limited and unlimited, to the indescribable. And that's interesting when it says indescribable, almost meaning like you can't describe it, but it's a knowing from within. And so when we start then getting that taste of the divine, and we start dropping our attachments to how we think things are and how they really happen and what's really going on, because we're then operating from, you might call it just the left brain, but that's just the body, the brain operation. But just from a categorizing everything and labeling everything and putting everything in its proper place, like a machine does, because divine beings, we don't need to do that. That's not what we do. Yet this what would you call a reality has to be fueled by something, and we're the fuelers, you might say. We're the and I realize what faith is. Faith is the fuel of manifestation, because you have such faith in something that you give it power. It's better than, like in the divine, you're not giving the divine power, you're acknowledging and recognizing who and what you're part of that's far grander and more glorious than any outer manifestation or concept or belief or, knowledge, information that could be, you see. And that what happens when we're not in the mystic, we're trying to make things happen, force things happen. We're maneuvering. We've got an axe to grind. We've got a story to defend. We've got something about us that we have to promote or defend. It's all of this. It's always this thinking, analyzing, figuring out. It's like when you start listening to the mind and some of the nasty stuff that can come forth, or has been, or would be, if you follow that mind and it starts making a story and trying to prove something, and this is what causes all the trouble and all of the problems and all the suffering and all the pain, and in a repetitious kind of a way, because it's basically reflecting itself like mirrors in a cube. And if you see all those mirrors like that going all these directions, like into infinity in every direction, get a crack in the mirror and it breaks. And the crack in the mirror comes when you realize there is the divine and the mystic. That when we let go and we let God, so to speak, that way, but what we do is begin to trust. And trust in the divine, that there is a divine power of goodness and wholeness and love beyond material concepts, beyond these human bodies, beyond this earthly. And it's even like in the Gnostic path of the Gaia, Sophia, of the earth also having a consciousness as a female, and then you could see that as a mother. And in the Vedic teachings also, especially the Vaishnava teachings, it's that earth is one of our mothers, just as the cow is one of our mothers giving us milk. And to demonize milk comes from the pasteurization, homogenization, and the bacteria and all this that people don't realize. People were drinking milk forever and ever and ever, but they had a cow, you see, okay, or that, and it was all, and they were in nature, you see, and they had pastures, and they had, people were living close to harmony. And what happens is, in the mind realm, and people say, well, you have to give credit to the mind, because of the mind, all these inventions and the technology and the medicines and the diseases and the great big cities and the highways and the jets. Yeah, but that's the problem. That's not who we are. And then humanity thinks it's all going to die, and because the species is going, because the species, so-called, whatever that's want to have that is, body form, is so weak and helpless and stupid because we have given all of our power to something and someone or technology or a thing or so outside of who we are. And then further and further from nature. And see, that's why in the mystic, is we start tuning back into nature, because we start listening. And not listening to the thoughts that are going. No, that's listening to a machine, just funneling constantly. And so in the mystic path, to me, is the best, because it's the natural. And when we get back into nature then, and when we get our shoes off when we can, and we sit and we listen and we're quiet and we learn to listen, and you've got to put yourself in those kind of places where you give yourself that. And we have to have that. And that's your greatest investment, is in yourself. You work on the inner, because the inner is always going to manifest in the outer. And when we get ourselves out of the way and are able to listen and trust our own inner guidance, and also trust that we can let go and let God. We're not attached any longer to our will, our plan being made manifest, because we know what we intend, and it's always for the highest good of all. We always ask for this or that which is far greater or more or better for us, and all that we aren't aware of it now, so that we're actually allowing ourselves to surrender into the loving arms of the divine, of the beloved. That doesn't mean you don't do your work, or you don't offer your services, or you don't, and we're here in the money game. But we could transform the money game when we realize it become gifting, and also to use it as fertilizer to grow your ideas, your goods and services that are good for all. It's you taking that stand that you take because how we got into the trouble is leaving the mystic, the divine, the natural, the authentic, the way that we really are, and how all does operate in harmony. And yet when people say, well, nature isn't harmonious, it's just, now you wait a minute. All is consciousness, you see. And when we believe and take on the world of the mental, of making it up, analyzing it, figuring it out, of categorizing it, labeling it, numbering it, generating it, this is not it. It is that which is behind, and then you perceive the divine, the mystic, in the all, and you actually are free of anxiety. And if you get into a little fear, you can see where it came from, what you were doing, what you were thinking, what you were making it happen, and what you were doing in the whole thing. And more thinking about it isn't going to make it better. It just compounds it. So take a deep breath. Breathe into your heart. You see? Yeah. So I invite you. That might be your calling. We're going to study, and there's mystics and the workings of the mystics, and that's really our own way. And I found that really, the mystic path has always been my path, because it is the path of ease, the path of joy, the path of love, the path of fun, the path of play, the path of absolute certainty beyond a shadow of a doubt of who you are and what you're part of, and you claim it for yourself.